Okay. Howdy again. Thanks for returning. This is the second video because I ran out of space. Okay. So, what can I expect for the future of this situation? A lot of cards. Okay, so these came out. Oh, jeez, that's a lot. Okay. Golly. Okay, so oh, jeez, there's even an extra one there. So the initial card that came out is the Five of Wands in the reverse. And that's giving me this feeling of like a lack of conflict, a lack of chaos. Like there's, you know, we were talking about how like there's this feeling of all of this chaos, and it's kind of just like, just go with the flow and just trust things are working in your favor and let them come together. When they come together, it's this chaos, sort of feeling of chaos isn't going to exist any longer. It's going to feel more like, almost like a game, or more like, yeah, something that was like tactful, something that was like more methodological. The word that I'm thinking of, you know what I'm talking about. It has a method to it, more than it seems right now. It seems like chaos, but you'll see in the future that it actually like was for a reason. There's these two cards. I'm gonna move these over. So there's these two cards that are in that didn't come out, that are face down. Sorry. And that's because these are two parts that are unknown. So it's almost like what I'm seeing here is that like, okay, so what happens in the future is that this person, you, me, this person realizes that all of that chaos was for a reason. And kind of the way that things break down is like those movies where something super crazy happens, or where like something normal happens and then it leads into something crazy, and then it like breaks it down where it goes back to the beginning and then goes back to like explain how it kind of added up to that chaos and why, you know, it wasn't actually so chaotic, or it was, but it's only, well, it was super chaotic, but like the reason it felt so out of control was because there was so much going on, and it was kind of like having to kind of like break those things down to see kind of how they all came, how it all added up to that. It's like, unless you knew all of these things, you wouldn't be able to understand why this had not, why this had been in any other position. Like, it doesn't make sense why there would even be a potential for this not to be in this position. And that's like the concern, where it's like almost like, yeah, but it's like, why wouldn't it be? Well, and it's like, okay, there's these things that are unseen. There's this idea of the Magician, there's the Queen of Wands, there's the World, and there's the Ten of Swords, and they're all in the upright. And it's almost this idea where it's like, okay, well, people often find me or this situation, this thing, this experience, this goal, this, you know, type of career, whatever it is, to be mysterious, or like people kind of almost innately have this like negative sense about it, or like this idea that it's innately negative, when like really it's whatever you put into it and it's whatever you pull out of it. But it's almost like this idea where like people have a very specific idea about this that doesn't necessarily apply to what it really is. And like to you, this is something that is very sacred and something very important and like something very close to you, but like other people don't generally necessarily see it that way. So they tend to view you as somebody a little high-minded, or like maybe religious, like too religious, too uptight, like too like just having too high of standards, kind of almost. But like at the same time, like people don't see this as it's like something so bad. They might think that you're a bit weird or arrogant, even, or maybe they just don't understand you ultimately. But they also see you as somebody incredibly passionate and compassionate. They see you as somebody very knowledgeable, very experienced, very trustworthy that way. They see you as somebody very grounded. They see you as somebody very loving, but very wise. Somebody very stern, very direct, very confident. Not somebody you would want to mess with, but somebody that you could go to with a problem and you could know that like they actually care to solve it, to what's best for everybody. There's this world, this idea of them being very magnetic, of being very like, again, passionate, having this sort of like worldliness to them. They're very educated, they're very experienced, they've just kind of like, they've seen a lot, they've done a lot, they know a lot, they have lots of variety to them. They just kind of, they're very well-rounded in that sort of way. There's lots of an air of mystery about that as well. But also this really strange feeling of almost like prophecy being foretold, or like prophecy coming to fruition through this person, or like this person has like this weird, strange, like strong, potent spirituality that kind of draws others into them. Yeah, and it's almost like disarming. Like this person ends up being disarming. And some people, ironically, become defensive against that. The fact that when they realize that they've been disarmed, they're like, well, what the fuck? But that's kind of the point, because it's almost like this person already has been through enough to know how people are going to respond, so they already have like this way of being, so that they can kind of just forego a lot of the ways that people tend to be. But because most people tend to be a way, they don't necessarily understand that. So like they see that behavior as potentially threatening, or potentially manipulative, or potentially like misleading somehow, and it's simply because they don't understand it. Yeah, okay. And then there's also this fear, this negativity, this cynicism, this depression, and this fear of how this depression kind of affects things negatively. And it doesn't come into this at all, but it's so. Actually, it comes in with the head wound in the 9 of Wands, where we began. This PTSD, it's this idea of like, I'm damaged goods, right? Like I couldn't dare ask for full price when I have chips and dents and scratches, sort of deal, right? When like, truthfully, I mean, I had come up with this concept of, it's not like I came up with this concept. Kinsekuri is an old Japanese tradition, I believe it's Japanese tradition, working with pottery, with like fine china, right? Like like it's a, you know, it's all throughout Asia, I guess, because I thought it was Japanese. Kinsekuri sounds Japanese. But it's working with different porcelains, and when they would chip, they chip very easily. But then the kinsekuri is when you fix chipped china using gold, and you fill the cracks with gold, and what ends up happening is that, like, what was once an ugly crack that if filled with glue would be quite obvious, you know, or like at very best like slightly hidden, but like just not very pretty, it now accentuates the crack, but in a beautiful way, right? And it's gold now, and it like adds value to the base, and or, you know, whatever piece of pottery, it adds value that it wouldn't have had prior. So it's this really interesting concept of alchemizing one's experience, where, you know, take the cracks that have happened and the ways that your pottery, you yourself, have been broken down, and fill those cracks with gold. Fill them with something even better than what you already had. And then you've made art, and it's something very beautiful. And I see that being a reflection in all of these cards with this sheen on them even. There's a silver lining to all of these cards. However, it's almost like there's still this idea in this person's head, or there's this idea attached to the situation, person, place, thing. There's just a certain cynicism or a certain innate negativity attached, where it's like, this is going to interfere, this is going to make it not good enough, this is going to, you know, this makes me less valuable, when that's just simply not the case. I want to see what's being revealed here. We have Judgment and the King of Pentacles in the upright. I'll show you. So there's Judgment and the King of Pentacles. So what I was getting from this vibe, even before these things turned over, was this idea that, like, it's almost like somebody viewing somebody else from the outside and viewing them as, like, not, let's say that, like, it's like somebody's in poverty, and it's like, well, why is this person in poverty? And maybe the initial a judgment would be that this person is, you know, this was actually kind of, these cards are coming back now. This was the initial judgment back when we had the Justice in the reverse, the Nine of Pentacles in the reverse, and the Two of Pentacles in the reverse. Those cards that I pulled out that I said that I didn't use earlier. You know, I didn't bring them up earlier. That's this message that, like, the initial judgment was that this person, place, thing, or idea was out of balance, was financially, like, immature or irresponsible, that there was, they lack wisdom, that they lack good judgment, that they lack, that they're it's kind of like this person, place, or thing is loves drama, is bad with money, like, is mentally ill. There's like this idea of like this whole situation just being super messed up, and that's why it is, what was this, so defenseless seeming, and so like aloof seeming about this chaos, when in reality, like, so the assessment was like, oh, this person must just be crazy, or like this thing is just a bad situation innately. But in reality, there was like a depth that was going on here, and there was this one darkness was actually addressed at the very beginning. And it's kind of been this underlying point. And it's like a very fundamental and essential aspect of this individual, or person, place, or thing, sorry. But it's like they've moved through those things to the point like that's not a reflection of who they are, and this is who they are, and this is what this is. Like, it might have used to be something like, maybe this is, I know this has been super random. I kind of am getting that, like, a whole bunch of super random energies. So I think I'm speaking for, like, I think I'm talking about literally, like, 5 different, totally different scenarios. But, shit. I'm getting this energy. Well, I just lost it. Hold on. Of like, maybe this is somebody who, like, I don't know, they just didn't like you off the bat for some reason, but like maybe you didn't know that. Maybe they pretended that they did because there was something they could get out of it. But after some time, they realized that they actually do really like you and appreciate a lot of things about you, and that whatever their initial assessment was wrong, and now they're making a different judgment. And like, maybe that initial opinion had been like somebody else's opinion that they told them, and that was their opinion going in, and now it's been changed. You know, maybe it's not so dark, or maybe this person like was, you know, set up, part of a setup, was paid to interact with you a certain way, or set up to do a certain thing, and, you know, had set up this entire thing to be a certain way, but then realized partially through that, like, oh, actually, this isn't what I thought it was, and is now making a different judgment. But the final judgment is that there is a balance of abundance. There's a balance of materialism. There's a balance of a person within their kingdom and within their sense of control. Again, there's a bit of an arrogance that's going on here. But I think it's this thing that's consistently been addressed. You know, when we go back, like, it's underlying here. It's an important aspect. It's constantly brought up, I'm sure. And it's not necessarily like interfering with anything. Okay, so what's the final message? The final anything having to do with this for right now, this situation. As we come to it all. Alright. So we don't see what the outcome is. I'm just going to take all these. Let's just move these down to even them out. Okay, so we don't see what's coming, but what is coming is the Knight of Pentacles and the Ten of Wands in the upright. This idea, okay, being given an abundance that's perhaps a bit overbearing or a lot to carry. It's not that this person isn't managing to carry these things, but it's an awfully large load. It's kind of like being so full of passion that one is over encumbered. But it is in the form of a blessing. It is a gift. And so it almost seems like it's a process. It's the, and this is, like I said, we're talking about the next month. So we're talking about like a very short time. There is a blessing coming in. It's something fairly significant. Wow. Okay, so it's to help somebody balance out these burdens. I think somebody sees that another person, like, is hardworking, but is struggling, and, like, they don't want to put this person in a position of, like, becoming lazy and being like, oh, I guess I never have to work again. It's not like that. They know that if they invest in this person, that this person is going to, like, put these things to work. And so they're willing to make this investment into this hard work that this person is doing. Or it's almost like, yeah, like some sort of outside investor being willing to invest in, whatever sort of entrepreneurial endeavor, or maybe it's somebody like giving you a job, giving you a spot, for like a show or whatever, something like that. Some sort of benefit, but like ultimately, like it's not like, it's kind of like getting a vacation, but like the vacation is like a period, or it's like the resources necessary to be able to do work. It's not just like, here, stop giving a fuck about everything. It's like rejuvenate so that you can get to where you're going. It's like, I believe in where you're going. I believe in your heart. I believe in the person that you are. I trust these things. I trust that you're doing this stuff for the right reasons. And that you're balanced in that. That you make the right calls despite the negativities that you struggle with. There's a concern of mismanaging money still. But it almost is like immediately like considered like that's likely due to the fact that this person has never had this or always had this stolen from them. So like maybe there's just a proper education that they need, or maybe they just need this thing, and that's why this gift is being willing to be given. And yeah, the only advice I can get out of this is to stay strong in your own beliefs. Don't waver at this time. Right now, you're not being called to any huge changes in beliefs. So if you've been teeter-tottering on like, oh, maybe this is something I want to start believing in, but I'm not really sure, it's not like telling you to jump headfirst into that. It's telling you to like take these things slowly and to like take the leap of faith that like, that you don't have to do things in fear. So you can give things your time, your dedication, the proper thought, the proper energy. You don't have to be impatient, nervous, anxious. Things are going to come to fruition for you. You have to let them come to you. In the meantime, you have to focus on what you can do, which is just being, the best person that you can be, and not letting these things, drive you mad. Reassessing, reprioritizing, getting all your ducks in a row, your schedule and stuff like that, making sure that you're drinking lots of water. Just today I started making up a schedule, like a daily schedule, like breaking down by the hour what I anticipate to be doing every day, so I can get on top of building a regimen, because I've really been struggling without a routine. So maybe that's something that can be beneficial for you. This idea of being able to balance things. For every output, you should have some sort of input. For everything that you're receiving for yourself, you should also be giving something to the world outside of yourself. So start focusing on those things to create some sort of balance. And yeah, it seems like things are moving in a really positive direction, despite all odds. So just keep your head up, keep doing your very best, keep working hard, keep caring for yourself, keep going with the flow, being willing to receive, stay wise, stay grounded for sure. Have faith, stay positive, and yeah. I don't know. That's what I got. This was an interesting reading. I appreciate you taking the time to sit and listen. I don't know if this ended up getting broken up into 4 different videos or not. If so, I apologize for that. I'm still struggling to figure out how to make these a little more efficient. Just in general, I've had a lot on my plate, so I appreciate your patience. And yeah, I hope that you've had a wonderful day. If you have more day to come, I hope that it's a good one for you. I hope that you get sweet dreams tonight, that you have a good sleep, that it's truly restful and rejuvenating, that you wake in the morning feeling ready for a new day, and that you are able to make the most of the day all day long, and that you feel quite rewarded for that by the end of tomorrow evening. And that continues, and that you start picking up these new habits and really just working towards your end goals, without letting anything stop you. No more distractions, no more letting these things get in the way, no more excuses, really just being able to trust yourself, just no more of this confusion, and just kind of being able to work through it even despite it. That's what I hope for you. I appreciate you again, and yeah, all right, I will see you in the next one.